All right, Xavier. The country, the United States of America, the country that we were born in,
raised
that
in.
we've been here for
Homegrown.
26 years, 27 years.
Oof, expiration date.
We were just talking about this. I don't know if I wish I was born or earlier or later, but the time I'm in right now.
Hey, I low-key wish we was born a little bit later. Like, I wouldn't have minded graduating like now,
Okay.
so I don't have to like go and fake work.
Play the game.
Yeah, play the game for 5 years just for it to end up right here anyway. Like, let me know out the gate what we're going through, just so I can be like, okay, I'm just gonna go and focus on myself and do things that I actually like to do instead of going and getting deep in the cog. But
all right, yeah. So guys, you guys voted for the majority of America voted for Donald to be back in office. 45 is now number 47. So President Donald did something, Xavier. President Donald invoked Title 10 on June 7, 2025, federalizing approximately 4,000 National Guard personnel and 700 active duty Marines to Los Angeles. The stated mission was protect federal property and personnel in response to protests over immigration enforcement, ICE raids centered downtown. On June 12th, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer issued a temporary restraining order regarding the Guard to return to Governor Gavin Newsom's control, ruling the deployment is illegal under the 10th Amendment and exceeding presidential authority. More hours later, a Ninth Circuit Appeals Court issued a temporary stay, allowing the deployment to continue pending a full hearing scheduled for June 17th. So that's why I said I think it needed to go through more litigation before the officers were actually in control of Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom and Karen Bass has been locked in step with this as far as being on the same page. What is Trump doing? We can control this. We can control protesters. Like, you don't need to do this. They have been locked in step in that same. I mean, it's common fucking sense.
Right.
But we don't have to use common sense with some of the Trump supporters here and now. I want to get into, before I give it to you, Xavier, how much it costs for this to happen. The deployment is costing an estimated $134 million.
sheesh.
Guess who's paying for that? The Americans that have been here for a minute. We have to pay for that.
What Trump calls the homegrowns.
Right. They are not permitted to make arrests while they're out there. It remains an LAPD jurisdiction, which just comes into question. Why is Trump turning, armed forces against his own people?
I think he would have to consider them people. We know exactly what Trump has said about this very population of immigrants, that they're just murderers, criminals, rapists. So he hasn't had anything good to say.
Right. It's been that same quotation that he used all pre-election. The immigration crime is crazy, and we got murderers and drug dealers and
not just this time, the first time as well. So this rhetoric is not something new when it comes to Trump. What is new to me, I guess, is why are people acting surprised like this is something new that Trump has said? We're just now starting to really see his words come into action on a large scale. I heard recently we surpassed the number of we surpassed a height of deportations in a single day with 20, or I think about 2,000 plus people deported in a singular day. And I can't remember exactly who his name, but the person that Trump has in charge of the deportations saying that that's not enough, that we need to be deporting more and more people every day. And he's even on record to saying why are you not at Home Depot? That's where we are, Cayman, in this country. We are, according to Trump and according to his followers, his culties.
I like that shirt.
His culties, Trump was only supposed to be deportating criminals.
Right.
But he's at Home Depot and family graduations.
You're at family graduations. People are scared to even celebrate that with their families. You guys are literally going everywhere, causing harm. We actually out here in Sacramento, we actually seen some unidentified cars.
Oh yeah.
These are the kind of things that are happening right now, and American citizens have been shoved into cars and sent back. People with green cards and right documentation have been sent back. What are we doing right now? And let me make this point before we even continue on this topic. Do you guys understand it now? What, like, the people that stood with him, even though they knew he was a racist, sexist, bigot, but talking about policy, talking about Kamala, I don't know what y'all was talking about, because y'all was talking about a bunch of bullshit. The fake Christians out there. I'm talking to all y'all. Do you guys not see what is going on? Do you guys not understand what is going on? Why pre-election were we saying this exact thing was going to happen and nobody fucking listened?
Well, because that's just a common theme in this country. You're not going to listen until you're personally affected.
Right.
So now that a lot of people are starting to be personally affected, whether or not it's their neighbors or their own family members, it is no way for you to not be exposed to what is going on right now. And anybody with any type of moral compass or any conscience is not going to be able to look at people who are not even in uniform, just random white people in some camo gear that they got
unidentified.
Yeah, just some random people. They gonna pull up on you and shove you into a car, not tell you why, and send you to El Salvador. And we're expecting these very people to just go about their day and not want to hit these streets and protest. And just the way that the local media or just media in general is portraying these protesters is absolutely disgusting.
Right. So let's talk about these protests real quick, Xavier. You know, protests were happening out in L.A. As I mentioned before, Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass said these were containable protests. People are protesting a government that obviously is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Obviously not focusing on the price of eggs. Obviously not focused on the things that we actually have to deal with as American citizens every single day. Who has money for an apartment right now? Who got money for groceries? You ain't doing 2, 3, 4, 5 things on one paycheck. Let me tell you that. You ain't getting groceries, paying your rent, paying your car note, doing all this shit on one paycheck. You're not doing that. Average American, I think it's 75% of Americans can't even afford an expense over $400. If that were to come up in their life, they could not afford that. They would be struggling.
Right.
People have kids, families, things they have to deal with. So let's talk about these protests. We see what they're doing. We see what they're doing wrong. People decide to invoke what's that amendment second, right? Their Second Amendment right to protest. Like this. Why are you looking at me like that? I don't know if it's Second Amendment. I don't care. But nigga, you have a right.
We'll just let them know down in the comments.
Hey, we went to EGUS. We had EGUSD as our school district.
We're supposed to be the best school district.
We're supposed to be the second best school district in California, and I don't even know my amendments, but I don't care. Y'all know what I'm saying. Anyway, proceed. You have a right to protest in this country, right, Xavier?
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful
protest. We have the right to assembly.
What is going on with what's the divide between the protests that are going on and Trump sending the National Guard and Marines out? Are these protests so uncontainable that are they just going against Trump's authority and law and his word and what he wants to do, his agenda?
Right.
So if you're going against my agenda, this is what I will do.
Right. And according to what I've heard Trump say about the protests before he sent in the National Guard and the military, he didn't feel that the police was putting up enough of a fight. He felt like the protesters were pushing over the police, and he said the infamous you spit, we hit. So he was just saying that if the police are going to sit there and allow these people for days on end to have this protest and not comply with direct orders, then I'm going to send in people who are going to make them comply with these orders physically, which we did see him do, which is something that we see continuously with protests that are going to be on the right side of history, more left-leaning protests. We know who was allowed to walk these streets and promote their ideologies uninterrupted and actually guarded by the police. And usually it's Kanye West, 2025 Kanye West fans. 2025 Kanye West fans can walk these streets 24/7 spewing their hatred, and the police will walk with them and guard them. But if you let teachers and your Uber driver, and just your neighbors want to peacefully congregate, no weapons, just some signs, and we're protesting the illegal deportation of American citizens.
American citizens.
And we get the police stuck on us. We get the National Guard stuck on us. We get the Marines stuck on us. This is all coming from our president. The last time we were able to see something where we stuck military on civilians is during, I believe, civil rights. During segregation, once schools were integrated in the South, they weren't vibing with that. They said, I don't care what the law says. We're not going to integrate our schools. Military was sent to kind of help them comply with that. But other than that, we don't so often see in this country the military being sent to force citizens to comply with the police.
Right.
The military is supposed to be the military, and the police is supposed to be the police. So now we're kind of muddying a lot of these waters. Like we mentioned, California is a sanctuary state. Even more importantly, LA is a sanctuary city. The LAPD and the police have a responsibility to protect its citizens and its immigrants. Instead, what do we see them do? They are standing and guarding ICE officials while they do their jobs, going against directly what their sole purpose is.
And I want to shout out the Atlanta, I believe he was a chief that actually got up and said that I'm not standing with what's going on. There's got to be more police and law enforcement officials that actually have to stand up against the system when they know something is wrong. You want to talk about muddy in the waters. I wanted to say this right here. In a speech at Fort Bragg on June 10, 2025, Donald referred to the demonstrators as animals and a foreign enemy, saying he would quote unquote liberate Los Angeles. He also called some of the protesters insurrectionists. So, Trump people.
We heard what the courts had to say about that as well. In order for this to be an insurrection, we have to be armed and violent.
Hold on, Xavier. Hold on. January 6th.
That apparently that didn't happen.
What do you call that?
Somebody actually got clapped.
Somebody died.
I believe multiple people died.
And this motherfucker got in office.
A police officer died.
This motherfucker, police that they protect. They want to protect so bad. He got in office and started letting these fools out of jail.
Yeah.
We really saw an insurrection, and he let those people out of jail. Why? Because they aligns with his way of thinking. They aligned with his messaging. And as long as you're on my side, blind supporter, cult supporters, as long as you on my side, it don't matter what y'all doing.
Right, like we said, we know who is allowed to peacefully protest and spew their ideologies in this country. And it's usually the most hateful, bigoted, racist, ignorant motherfuckers you're going to ever meet in your life. They hate everybody, including their mama, but we expect them to go about things peacefully. We see, like, the courts agreed with us. These protests are peaceful. These protests are nonviolent until antagonized by the police. And even then, these protesters are not coming armed with any weapons. So for Trump to call that an insurrection when we all witnessed a violent attack,
and for
on
him
the nation's capital,
for him and Lil
with
Pete,
death,
Pete Segwith or whatever your last name is, I don't really care, Secretary of Defense, for you and your dummy boy to spend $134 million to send these people out. They said that they didn't even have proper food, shelter. Y'all just sent them out there without a fucking plan.
Bro, over 2,000 people in a day. You think they had enough space for that? Trump's already on record of saying that they need to build at least 5 more prisons in El Salvador because they're upping how many people they plan on deporting a single day. And this is only the beginning. How long has he been in office, Gaiman?
Oh, he's been in office since January 20th, and let me tell you, it's felt like 2 to 3 years already.
Right.
It's already felt. I felt it.
It ain't even hot outside like that yet.
Right, and he's already ruining stuff. Hey, Xavier, what's the next step? What do you suggest people to do? I know we're gonna go out and stand with our class solidarity is very, very important. What do you
Right.
suggest people to do? What do you urge our listeners to do as we see this shit going on?
So I know we might not be the most friendly generation, or I wouldn't say friendly, but maybe like the most social
There you
outside of
go.
like our
That's a
own
great word
our
for
own
it.
circles.
Mhm.
But I think this is like the perfect time to really start to know your neighbors, really start to form those communities, and really start to look out for each other. It's interesting times, and those of us who are able to walk these streets peacefully need to do more for our neighbors who cannot. So I know there's a lot of find your local organizations. There's a lot of ways that you can get involved, whether it's going to a protest, going to a march, sharing information online, sharing information on checkpoints that you see in your neighborhood, doing grocery store drop-offs to people in your neighborhood. There's a lot that you can do outside of getting shot with rubber bullets the way the police be acting. So if that's not your vibes, that's not an excuse for you not to be involved at this
Right.
point. It's 2025.
Do something, speak out,
Yeah,
say
it's
something.
this the year of
Like-
coalition building.
Right. I agree.
What they say in church: turn to your neighbor, hug your neighbor, look to your neighbor and say, "Neighbor,
For real.
neighbor, I am you, neighbor.
For real.
Neighbor, you is me, neighbor."
For real.
But we just need to do more. We just need to do better, of course. A lot of the people who are still kind of just on the fence, in the middle.
Why? We
At
not
this
even
point.
at this point. That's what I'm saying. They drinking the Kool-Aid. I can't. If you in June 13th, 2025 is saying anything pro Trump at this time, something is wrong with you in the head. You are a part of the cult. You're
Part of the
drinking the
cult.
Kool-Aid, and that shit is like, what is it about Donald that y'all love and
That
is
nigga
so
sexy, bro.
infatuated about? Like,
that nigga sexy.
cause he do a dance like that, like.
He's so buff. His hair look good. He got the perfect tan.
What did Cole say? I'm the bullet that missed Trump.
Trump is. But Cole also said he ain't a gun. No wonder that nigga missed. He is
Hey,
not a gun. But
bottom line.
You hear what the police chief in Florida said?
What'd he say?
He said
Crazy Florida.
He said that for all the protesters, if you block any roads, you will go to jail. If you disobey a direct order, you will go to jail. If you spit, you will. If you spit or throw any rocks, you will go to the hospital. Then you will go to jail. He said, if you do anything violent towards the police, we will be telling your family where to pick up your remains because we're going to kill you graveyard dead. And I quote, "We are going to kill you graveyard dead." That is what Mr. Police Chief of the Protect and Serve. That's our Protect and Serve niggas.
That's our protect and serve. I need all my Florida.
Peaceful protesters, we gonna kill you graveyard dead. And he also said you might even get bit by one of our big beautiful dogs, because you couldn't tell that nigga was Republican already. Big beautiful dog. He can't get the taste of Trump's dick out his mouth. Like, that is
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what I'm saying. I don't understand the I don't understand it.
We got
I
these
just
big beautiful dogs.
And
They gonna bite your ass.
he sits there and lies about everything.
No, they
Motherfuckers-
wasn't lying. They gonna shoot your ass for real.
No,
Be careful.
that's a fact.
That's Florida.
That's Florida. That's a fact.
Hey, keep
But-
your wicks intact.
But Donald sits there and lies repeatedly, gets caught in lies, and y'all motherfuckers don't care. I'm gonna tell everybody, be safe,
Be safe.
pray, and
If that's what you do.
yeah, if that's what you do, and go out there and go meet your neighbor. Just do more. That's our message. We're gonna go do more. We're gonna push ourselves out of our comfort zones, and this is the day and time in 2025 where you have to do that. So this is our Blam quick tape.
Yep.
We gonna be out there right with the people.
Right. Don't wait till some niggas come knocking on your door to get involved.
That's facts.
That's tough.
All right, man. See y'all later.
Peace out.